welcome to another exciting episode of Haunt Talk. Today we are talking about Halloween Horror Nights. More specifically, we are talking about the scare zones, the shows, and any other extra things you could check out. We already did a video pertaining to the houses. Make sure you check that out. I'm sure there'll be a link down below. So let's get started.
Alright, so we're just going to kind of talk about scare zones. No specific order. We're not really going to, list our favorites because the scare zones, not all of them are made equally. Like, for example, an arcade is really tiny, so, it's cool, but, whatever. But we'll go ahead and we'll start with an arcade since I already brought it up. It's very small. It's the entry one. Like, last year, it's basically a photo op. This year, it is better than that. It is really cool looking for us. Small as it is, there's people in laser costumes, like neon light costumes.
Yeah, there was lots of neon lights, lots of black light kind of stuff, and then the facades on either side are made to look like video games, which actually do have screens with video game videos on them.
You can't walk up and play them or anything.
Yeah, but it's got the controls and everything like that. Like somebody was playing it. It's basically somebody getting chased. I did notice one of them was actually somebody being chased by one of the people that were running around the zones and stuff, which I thought was kind of cool. They do have some chainsaw people in there. There's people on stilts. She does look like Lady Gaga a little bit.
She has nunchucks glowing.
Yeah, she has. Yeah.
That was cool. They have chainsaws, which are all neon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They have a laser ceiling. Not a very big scare zone, but it's cool. It has that arcade 80s music playing, although most of the park has that kind of music playing. But
right, because it's 80s.
So the next scare zone we'll talk about, which is for sure the biggest scare zone in the park, is Zombieland. A whole bunch of stuff from the movie. There's a whole bunch of different little interactive things. Well, I wouldn't say interactive, I guess. Little show-type things that go on.
Yeah. It is Zombieland, like the original, but it's also promoting the second one that's coming out, Double Tap.
Yeah.
But, you'll see certain things from the original movie in there,
Malik's Bake Shop.
Yeah.
There's Bill Murray. Bill Murray, actually.
Yeah, Bill Murray.
He's walking around pretending to be a zombie with his golf club and stuff.
He just wants to golf.
Yeah.
Then we didn't get to actually see him, but I did see it in videos. But apparently they do have Tallahassee walking around, attacking people or zombies, I should say. I didn't get to see him. I don't know if he wasn't out when we were walking around there each time, but it is a pretty big zone.
It's very large, yeah. And there's even porta potties you can open up, and zombies may or may not come out and attack you. There's a giant, looks like a drop tower thing where they have a kill of the week little sequence. Huge scare zone. It was really cool.
Lots of fun stuff in there. So that brings us to our next zone, which would be Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe.
See, it's an interesting concept for a scare zone because it's based off of different music videos and the music from that album.
Yes.
And I thought it was a lot of fun, it's cool walking through there. Obviously it's Rob Zombie music playing. There's go-go dancers up on towers and stuff.
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah, they were very scantily clad.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with what Hellbilly Deluxe is, it's Dragula, if you've ever heard that song, Living Dead Girl,
Super Beast,
Super Beast. Those really popular Rob Zombie songs are pretty much what you're gonna walk in there with, and they had different displays with the Living Dead Girl. They did have a Dragula there.
They did, just a photo op, which was cool.
Yeah, they had a bunch of other really cool, strange things. There was an electric chair, a bunch of really fun, very metal scare zone.
Yeah, it was a really cool one. I really liked the Rob Zombie one. And the next one is just probably my favorite one to walk through was Vanity Ball. Basically, it's messed up plastic surgery.
Yeah. If you've ever watched the show Botched, these are the people that always get rejected by the two doctors because they have way too much surgery already, and the doctors are nah, I'm not doing any more of that. these are those people that like are like, well,
Yeah.
I'll pay this guy, you know, thousands of dollars, and he'll fill my lips up with as much silicone as they can fit
Right.
before they explode.
But it seemed like the actual storyline of it was like these like crazy doctors like wanting to do plastic surgery, because some people would be walking around with like a part of their face off, just holding like literally
Yeah.
their face in their hand. Their face looks like it's been ripped off. There's a runway in the middle of the thing where all the messed up plastic surgery people, like, you know, that are fake or like walking, and those are the people that actually I would assume want it or
Yeah,
whatever.
it was kind of a combination of like unwilling participants and willing participants.
Correct, which was interesting because you have these people like panicking and wanting help, and you have like the sadistic nurses and doctors,
Yeah.
and then the people that are happy of the creation that they are.
Yeah,
It was-
like there's a girl walking around and she's actually missing her like skin of her face.
Yeah.
And then if you notice, there's actually a person that's walking the runway that I believe has her face sewn onto his face.
Huh. Yeah, it's fun.
So I think that's kind of fun.
And they have different little, because it's in the same place that Chucky was, and it's kind of similar how there's like, Chucky, they have the electric chair, and the thing where you actually interact with Chucky. This one, they have one where they like do liposuction, and then another one, we didn't get to see all of it, but I've seen other videos with it in there and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that brings us to talk about the last scare zone, which is Vikings Undead. It was cool. This was definitely one of the more gory scares. Well, I guess Vanity Ball's probably... It's gory, but Vikings Undead literally has, like, the flayed humans and
Yes.
stuff.
There's a ritual that Vikings like to do to their victims. It was actually called Blood Eagle. And essentially they would take the person, cut them open, and take their rib cages out and position them so it looked like they had wings.
Yeah.
Talk about torture.
I like the scare zone. I liked last year's better. I liked, like, the theme they had better last year with, like, the giant monster pumpkin people, because the zombie Vikings themselves, like, they looked kind of hokey to me almost. Like, you could almost, like, see the mask on them. Like,
Yeah.
it was strange. I wasn't a huge fan of. The sets and props are pretty cool, like the Viking ship and the different torture scenes, but, like, the actual characters themselves, I wasn't a huge fan of the Viking thing. But, I mean, obviously that's a matter of opinion. I'm just not that into Vikings, I guess. I don't know. But that does it for Scare Zones. And we're going to talk about a couple different shows that they offer. Real quick, we will mention the Universal, what is it called? Universal Monster Show, the thing that's like all year long.
Yeah, they have the
the makeup
monster makeup show,
Yeah, that's what
which we highly recommend going to see.
Yes. Now, it's not just during Halloween Horror Nights.
No.
It's actually, I don't even know if they don't do it during Halloween Horror Nights, but they do it during the day. And if you're there, you're probably there in the day. And it's really funny. It's really cool. Some of the stuff they said, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
This is why it's not Disney.
This is why it's not Disney. Yeah, it's hokey, but it's actually pretty informative too, because they tell you some behind the scenes stuff, how they do certain things. Like if you've ever seen like American Werewolf in London, they show you how they do the transformation scene.
They actually have two of the things. That
Yeah,
they used to
and
do,
they are
which is really
original, because
cool.
I remember going when I was really young, and those animatronics are still there. Those are the same ones that they made for that movie, which I think is pretty impressive.
No, it's real impressive, yeah. But yeah, definitely go watch that. Not necessarily a Horror Night thing, but I wanted to mention it.
It gets you in the mood.
So the first thing we'll talk about is the new, for this year, water show called Marathon of Mayhem. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was a water show, projection show. I have a little bit of footage. Not too much to talk about. They just kind of, it's a montage of like different icons from the houses, the IPs.
Yeah.
So like Ghostbusters, Stranger Things, all of that. It's just kind of a mashup of that. If you've seen a water show before at like Disney or Universal, it's just that, but with this stuff.
Yeah. It was kind of neat, because they also had buildings behind that they would project stuff onto as well.
Right.
And then, of course, it had like the cool 80s music and any themed music for the show they were displaying.
But yeah, it's kind of just one of those things that goes off every like 15 or 30 minutes, I forget. And you just kind of walk up and watch it, and then you leave.
Yeah.
But the big one, of course, is Academy of Villains. Last year we did watch it. It was cyberpunk themed. It was okay. Last year I wasn't a huge fan of it. This year it is a lot better, though. In my opinion, I think it was fantastic this year.
Yeah, it had a more fitting theme, I think, to the Halloween Horror Nights. Was the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of theme, with a little sprinkling of the plague in there.
Yeah, because like the whole story basically was that he was trying to like create something that would, I think, fix people of the plague, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah, he's trying to find a cure.
And it basically made him like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type situation. So then when he's, his bad self, he is basically getting victims and tying them to a table and making them drink a potion, which gives them certain abilities. And of course, the abilities are actually the real person's talent. So you have a contortionist, someone that does like the ribbon dancing. I forget exactly what you call
aerial,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the aerial acrobatics when they're in like that. And
yeah, the other guy had like a ball and he was balancing it all over and like balancing on it. It was really just...
Watching the people that do that stuff is always so weird because it's like they're defying gravity. I mean, I know they're not, but it looks like it, and that it's so weird and cool to me. And then they had this really awesome like part towards the end of the show, which is all like based on shadows and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. Yeah, definitely go check the show out. Because I mean, obviously it's included with admission, so it's not anything extra. It's really, really great this year. Like I said, last year, I didn't even really feel horror themed last year. It's just cyberpunk, which didn't feel Halloween to me.
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, it fit the 80s theme, but it didn't really fit like the whole horror theme.
Yeah, and this year it definitely fits both, I feel, because it also feels kind of like almost classic monster-y.
Yeah.
It has that feel.
Yeah.
And even the stage set was, like last year it was just scaffolding, basically.
Yeah, it was basically like warehouse kind of looking thing.
And now it looks like the streets of London. And it was really cool. But yeah, definitely go check that out. So now we're just going to talk about some of the extras that you can do while you're there. So we'll talk about the one we actually did first, which is the R.I.P. tour. Now, prices we're not going to discuss too much. We will say that it starts at $200 a person. And you do have to have an admission ticket to Halloween Horror Nights. You can't get an R.I.P. ticket without. So not only are you paying $200, you're also paying admission, which usually starts at around $70. It's about as cheapest as you can find it.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of money, but I think that it's worth it, especially if you're kind of limited time like we there for Halloween Horror Nights, because the weekends get so busy, it's ridiculous.
Right.
But this gives you front-of-the-line access. You don't have to wait on any lines. The tour guide gives you more information. Mm-hmm. You get 2 breaks that are you're going to be in exclusive places that like the general public cannot go to.
You can get drinks at exclusive places as well. Like we had like a private bar that we could go and get drinks to and relax and just chill out for a little bit.
We had 30-minute break, which was nice. We just got to...
We got food. You have to pay for it, but you could you could get food with it. And
because it starts off, the first thing you do when you meet up there, we didn't have much time, it was like 15-20 minutes, and they have like appetizers, and they were actually pretty decent, and desserts, and that is included.
Yes.
That's included in the price. That doesn't cost you any extra. But then the stuff that does. But yeah, I mean, just the fact that you get a guarantee to go to all 10 haunted houses, front of the line, you feel very pampered.
Yeah.
I would say, if you have the money and you don't want to rush, it is definitely worth it. And also you get like the best seats for Academy of Villains as well.
Yeah.
They set us like right in front of like the main stage where like the performers will come up like the contortionist, and that was cool.
That was really cool.
Another thing that I would like to do next time we go, but we did not get to do it this time, was the Behind the Scream tour. This is the daytime tour. The only annoying thing is I guess you don't get to choose the haunted houses. It's you can either do 6 or 3, and you don't know what it's going to be, and they just give you like a lights on tour.
Which would be nice because sometimes, you don't get to see all the little details about it.
There's so many, yeah.
One of the nice things about having a tour was that our tour guide actually told us some behind-the-scenes stuff while we were walking through. For example, he said in Universal Monsters, there is wallpaper between each scene, and that's the transition into the next monster. So, like, when you're getting towards the mummy area, the wallpaper will start changing, and there'll be, like, scarabs and ankhs and, Egyptian symbols in it. And then once you get to, like, the next theme, it'll be, Dracula. There'll be, like, bats and things like that. So, that was really interesting, because I don't think I would have noticed that initially, just walking through. I would have been like, why is this wallpaper here? You know, I don't think I would have actually looked at it if I had known that.
And it's a little on the pricey side as well. I think it's like around the from like 60, 90-ish range,
Yeah.
I believe, is where that one's at.
Something like that.
The other thing they do offer is scare actor dining, which we didn't do. It's held at the Monster Cafe. Where basically, you just you get a general, just kind of buffet that you get at a theme park, and there's scare actors.
We did have some scare actors in with our little buffet that we had for our R.I.P.
Yes.
tour, but this is more.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that there's more of them. It's that they, like, the ones that we had are just people from scare zones. They come in and just kind of look at you and, you know, do scare actor stuff. But this will have it's Dr. Frankenstein and Igor. They come in and they talk to you, and then you can also take pictures with Frankenstein's monster, Bride of Frankenstein, and the boxing clown. Can't think of his name. That one.
Oh, Shorty.
Yeah, Shorty. That one. So we didn't do that one. I don't know if it's really something I would necessarily be into, but, you know, if you want to do all the Horror Nights things, you can. The last thing we'll talk about is a couple of the different treats that we tried. Now, one thing I will say we didn't try this year, we tried last year, but I know they have it, is the fudge dipped waffles.
Yeah.
They don't look that great, and they're kind of expensive. They're like $8, but they're actually delicious.
Yeah.
They were really good. Pizza fries, we finally tried those. You know,
Yay.
Halloween's Horror Night staple. They were delicious.
Yes.
If you've been there, you probably know that. But the new thing was s'mores fries, which we also tried, and those were amazing.
Oh my god. So good.
Which they're sweet potato fries, marshmallows, dark chocolate chips, white chocolate chips, and like graham cracker crumble.
Yes. And all baked and gooey and just, it was so good. Like,
Yeah, it was delicious, and you should get them if you're going.
yes.
For sure. Also, the alcoholic beverages they had this year, they have 3. Blood Pit, or no, not even 4. Blood Pit.
I think
There was
4.
4. Blood
Yeah.
Pit, Vampire's Curse, the Saturn, and I can't remember the other one. We had... Yeah, the other one's the one I had, I can't remember it. Vampire's Curse is really good, though. Basically
Yes.
tastes like a fruit punch kid drink, but
Yeah.
it's alcohol, so it's great. Yeah.
Doesn't taste like alcohol.
They also have some cool stuff, like you can get green popcorn in a ghost trap for like Ghostbusters, and they have, which we didn't try, there's a waffle drink and a candy corn drink. And
They had more waffle themed desserts as well. There was like a big stack of waffles with like whipped cream or buttercream or something between them. There was cupcakes with lights on them, which were they looked like they were just jelly beans, and then they like kind of put frosting around them to make the cord or whatever.
So there's all kinds of like themed regular desserts, but like definitely try the s'mores fries. Those were delicious.
Yes, very yummy.
But yeah, that I think that basically does it for this video. Did you go this year? You know, if you did, let us know in the comments what you thought of the event this year. You know, what was your favorite house, favorite scare zone, all of that. And we have lots more reviews coming up this year. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to us, and also check out our Facebook page and like us there. See you guys in the next one.
Bye.